for ways to increase your medical spa profit line? If so, stay with me, because in this podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 steps on how you control your product costs so you can become more profitable. I'm Dori Soukup, founder of Inspiration Management and MD Business Advisors, and I'm here to help you become more profitable. As a consulting firm, one of the first things we do with brand new clients is first review their financials, and that is by looking at the P&L statements. Do you do that? You need to. One thing that's very alarming, and most thing that we find all the time, is how high the product cost usually is. So the first step we do is actually calculate the financial ratios to see how much your product cost really is. Do you monitor that? First, let's define what a product cost is. The product cost, when you're looking in the P&L statement, is exactly what it costs you to actually do a treatment. And that's a little bit different than the cost of goods. The cost of goods usually includes payroll. So for the sake of this article, we're only going to be talking about product costs as exactly the products you need to perform a treatment. For example, you need Botox, you need fillers, you need consumables for your lasers, different equipment. That's actually a product cost. So you need to know what that financial ratio really is. So how do you look at that? What you should do on monthly basis is take your financial statements, look how much you have spent on product cost alone, then divide it by the revenue that you generated. That's going to give you a ratio. That ratio tells a big story. So I just did a little example for you. This is an actual person that we started working with. I was looking at 3 months of P&L statements. So over 3 months, this individual spent $177,000 on just products to do treatments. Their gross revenue was $450,000. So if you take your product cost and you divide it by the gross revenue, that's gonna give you 40% ratio. So out of each dollar that came into the facility, that means 40 cents of that dollar actually went to products. That means you paid all the supplier, whether it's Allergan, Galderma, laser companies, whoever. You actually paid that out, and that left you with only 60 cents on that dollar to pay everything else, to pay your expenses, to pay your payroll, whatever else you're doing within your business. And that's why most places are not profitable, because they're spending so much money on product costs that causes to deplete the profit. And that's not where you want to be. So you want to have a healthy business. So when we review those P&L statements, this is not an unusual matter, you guys. We see this all the time. As a matter of fact, I was reviewing someone the other day. They did almost like $300 and some thousand a month, and they only profited $4,000. That's crazy. That's madness. All you've done with this is you bought yourself a job. Why take on all the stress and the headaches and the pain and the sleepless nights if you're only going to get to keep $4,000 worth of profit? So something has to change, and that's why I'm doing this for you, this video, or if you're listening to it as a podcast, I want to help you implement the 5 steps that we are talking about here so you can control your product costs and be able to become more profitable. So here we go. Step number 1 to reduce your product costs is to be aware of your numbers. So you have to forecast and you have to budget. If you don't do that, then you're operating your business blindly, and that's where you get in trouble. So we have a tool, a budget and forecasting tool, where we advise all of our clients, all of our members, to create a budget month by month by month and be able to forecast everything in your financial picture. When you do that, you're planning for success instead of actually winging it. So by having a budget, you're able to identify how much revenue you're expecting to generate on a monthly basis, how much you can afford to spend on product costs, how much your expenses are, how much is your payroll, and then how much profit you want to end up with. When you do a budget and a forecasting, financial forecasting for your business, you're going to have a much healthier business, because then no matter which supplier comes to you and tells you, buy this much, I'm going to give you this much for free, you're going to be resisting, because you know now that you can only spend this much. But what happens is a lot of these suppliers are so good at sales. They come in and they sell you on this whole opportunity by buying in bulk because you're going to save money, but that kills your cash flow. It's not such a good deal. So you have to really be aware of what you can spend on monthly basis, and the only way to do that and control it is if you have a budget in place. That's number one. Number two is managing your inventory. Oh my goodness. I walk into some medical spas and I literally see boxes of fillers in treatment room, wide open, no locks, nothing. They're just everywhere. I see Botox fridge totally unlocked for people to help themselves to all these expensive products. There's no check-in process, inventory check-in process. There's no checkout process. It's just a total mess, if you will. It's like the wild, wild west. You need to be able to control your inventory. And if you don't control it, that's why you'll find some products have legs and they disappear. And if you don't think that happens, check again. I hear stories on weekly basis how team members, yes, your team helps themselves to products, or they give away products to clients without really charging them for it. And that's why your product cost goes up like crazy. So you have to really be careful about the usage and make sure that your team has proper protocols to make sure they are watching and they're monitoring the inventory usage. Number three kind of goes with number two, and that's product efficiency and waste control. Now, that also happens not only with injectables, but also with facials, any type of other treatments. It could be peels, it could be other different products that you're using within your facility. Now, if your team does not know exactly how much to use with each single treatment, and then back to that protocol again, make sure that they know how they're mixing the Botox, how they're utilizing the fillers, tracking everything that needs to be tracked to make sure we're not wasting products. I had somebody call me the other day, and one of her team members dropped a bottle of Botox, broke it, and poof, here goes a few $100s. And what do you do in that situation? Who's going to pay for that? So all these things need to be monitored. You need to have the protocols for every single treatment, the usage guideline. That way your team knows exactly what they need to do, so your product cost does not go through the roof. Make sense? It's always good to have protocols. All right, number four, you can renegotiate all your agreement terms with your vendors. A lot of times you don't do that, and you really should. Everything is negotiable. I just saved somebody over a point in credit card charges because I asked them to go and renegotiate their credit card charges fees. So everything is negotiable. That was substantial amount of money when you're talking in the millions. 1% adds up when you're charging credit cards all the time. Now, as far as your vendors' agreements, you can negotiate terms. Like instead of paying you right away within 30 days, you can maybe make it net 60 or 90, or make a commitment to purchasing a certain amount of product, but purchase it again in a few months rather than purchasing it all at once and put you in the hole to make you cash poor. Those are all things that you can negotiate. You can negotiate how much gift with purchase they can give you, what kind of special offers they can give you, what kind of products they can include with that purchase. Again, the terms, there are so many things that you can negotiate. Listen, there are competition for your vendors too. There are so many different brands that you can be doing business with. So don't feel that you have to only deal with one vendor, and you can always tell them what you're thinking so they can sharpen the pencil. Those salespeople are just that. They get paid on sales. So of course they're going to try to sell you as much as possible. They don't care about your product cost. All they care about is their own target. So you need to sharpen up your negotiation skills and get what you need out of that relationship so you can reduce your product cost and increase your profit margins. Believe me, it works. So make sure you do this, and that way you have a win-win situation between you and vendors. And number 5 is probably my favorite way to profit, and that is to raise your prices. I don't know what to do. There are still some of you who are selling Botox for $8.50 and $9 a unit and $10 a unit. That is ridiculous. Of course your product cost is going to be high when your price is so low. Something's got to give. Something's got to give, my friends. You gotta raise your prices. You can no longer be broke like your competition. That's what they do. The reason they're discounting is because they think they'll gain more client. Well, that can't be further from the truth. Come on, get with the program. If you want your bottom line to be higher, you have got to increase your price so your product cost doesn't have to be so high. Numbers don't lie. They don't. They always tell the truth. So you've got to control your product costs and your expenses overall so you can be more profitable. And the best way to do that is by raising your prices. We have clients that charge $15 a unit. There are some doctors that charge $18 and $19 a unit. You know, I ask this during our seminars, and it's amazing to me. I say to the people, who here, everybody stand up, who here charges $10 a unit? Sit down. And half the room immediately sits down. Then I say, who charges 11? Then some more people sit down. Who charges 13? There's few people still standing up. Who charges 15 or more? Usually there's 2 or 3 people standing up. And then I ask, why? Why are they charging 15 and all the people that sat down with 10? Why? Because they ask for it. Because they want to get paid their true worth. Stop cheapening yourself. You need to stop discounting and be so cheap. That's why your product cost is so high, and that's why you're not making any money, my friends. So we have a pricing calculator tool. If you're a member listening to this, you need to pull out the pricing calculator and be able to put in your product cost, your expenses, your payroll, and it'll give you a magic number of how much you should charge for a treatment for you to gain at least, let's say, 15% profit. And that's how you set your pricing, because you have 4 financial ratios and they all have to equal 100%. And if your prices are not high enough, then you're going to be in the red. And we want you to be in the black instead. So one thing to also keep in mind is that you don't have to compete on price. Just for example, like Tiffany doesn't compete with Zales, or Neiman Marcus does not compete with Walmart, do they? No. There is people that will be willing to pay your prices. So you'll do less people, but you'll make more money, and your financial picture will be a lot healthier. So that's what I want to advise you on. So number 5 is one of the most important things you can do. So my advice is to stop the madness, stop working for free, stop depleting your bottom line so you can have a healthier business, one that will provide you with double-digit growth, my friends. That's where we need to be. You with me? So in summary, it really pays off to read your profit and loss statement. And you really need to calculate those 4 ratios that I talked about. This practice will help you monitor your financial health and make sure that those ratios are balanced and that you are profitable. That's what is best for you. Sounds good? Yeah. So like this episode, share it. If you need help reading your financial statements, or if you need help in figuring out how to reduce your product costs and increase your profit, you can always call us and we'll be more than happy to help you. So please share this, leave us comments and likes, and until next time, stay inspired. Thank you.